Hey guys, today we're going to talk about Mars retrograde in the sign of Cancer, and we're also going to go over the first full moon of this year in Cancer. So let's start off by talking about Mars retrograde in Cancer on January 6th. Mars moving retrograde in Cancer, and it's going to be, let me see, degree-wise, it's going to be at 27 degrees. So emotional energy takes center stage. You're going to feel an even bigger pull towards introspection. We've already been feeling that since it's been retrograde in Leo for quite some time now. Only difference is that it's going into a different sign. So I guess with Leo, it was more of like a suppressed anger, right? Or just like it was more inwards to where it wasn't emotional necessarily because Leo's fire. But you might notice that when it goes into Cancer, it's going to bring up some more of the waterworks. Maybe not for all, but for a lot, it could bring up the waterworks. It's going to last till February 23rd, and that's when Mars will station direct in Cancer. Mars will return in the sign of Leo April 18th. So that's when we'll feel like ourselves again, like our fire has come back and we feel more confident in ourselves. We feel more solidified into who we are and the experiences that we are living in and not as fearful or emotional. So this whole retrograde time is really challenging us to balance our bold ambition with our emotional depth. And obviously, that's not always comfortable, right? Because it really tests our strength, our endurance. And that's when you find out the areas you need to work on as far as self-esteem goes, self-worth. How stable am I? Do I still have unresolved trauma that has just been repressed inside? So overall, just reflect on your personal ambitions and how they align with your emotional needs and your long-term goals. This is the time to really figure out, what do I really want in my life? Do I feel aligned with my purpose? Do I feel like I am in the right place in my life right now? Or do I feel that there needs to be change? And then what needs to change? Can I make a plan as to how I can make those changes? Avoid major launches or big decisions. Postpone any new initiatives. Don't start any dramatic new projects. Wait till Mars goes direct for those. This is really a time about balancing your ego, which is represented by Leo, and your emotions, which is represented by Cancer. So, and oddly enough, what's super interesting to me is the fact that this really is about the ego and the emotions. Because Leo is the ruler of the sun, and Cancer is ruler of the moon. So this is all about balancing our divine sun and moon within us. There's this beautiful, I have to look for it now. There's a beautiful poem about the love story between the sun and the moon. And I really want to share that now because that just popped up in my mind. This is the perfect time for this to come up too, because it's like Venus in Pisces is started today. So, and that triggers my Venus. My personal Venus is in Pisces. So very Venusian and Piscean. Okay, I know there's several different types of stories about the sun and the moon, but I found one right here And it's called The Greatest Love Story of All Time, The Sun and the Moon. And the sun loved the moon so much he died every night to let her breathe. The sun was a god of sorts. His light was so powerful it actually brought herbs to life and grew goods from the ground. Everyone every day came out to worship him. The moon was seen as a darkness, one that brought a cold presence to the world. Everyone hid in their homes when she rose. The moon craved to be seen. She wanted a breath of fresh air up in the midnight sky. She wanted to be loved, yet everyone admired the sun. They sensed the warmth of his glow. They felt alive in his daylight. But the sun had a secret. He admired the moon. He recognized her secrecy and fell for the way she was timid with herself. She hid parts of herself from the world that he knew the world would embrace. They were opposite souls, the sun and the moon. They were lovers who rarely met and always missed one another, yet they both waited patiently for the rare days when they might coexist peacefully. The sun wanted to make his true love happy in his absence. He wanted to show the world what she had to offer. He thought for weeks about how to give her the breath of air she wanted, leaving the world in a cloudy haze. Finally, he knew what he had to be done. He sacrificed his light every night to shine on the moon so she could be seen in all her beauty. He gave up something he was admired for to let her shine. That's just one of them. There's so many other ones, but there's the same concept here between this Mars retrograde between Leo and Cancer. It really speaks of that story. You know, it's like we cannot forget about our emotions. We cannot just keep pushing them down. We have to address the things that we are afraid to be vulnerable with. We have to look at our needs, our wants, our desires. And it's not just about competition. It's not just about the ego. It's about learning to open our hearts and letting down our guard every now and then. And it's not easy to do by any means. So be patient with these delays because we're going to be running into delays. That's what happens with retrogrades. Understand that obstacles are opportunities to refine and improve your approach. Then there's the post-retrograde recovery, which is after February 23rd, where Mars resumes its direct motion, allowing energy, motivation, and progress to return. The lessons of the retrograde, balancing personal ambition. Keep in mind, it's just the post, right? So don't be jumping into things quick. I mean, it's not going to actually feel solid until April, but just after that retrograde, it's kind of like we have a little bit more of the relief from retrograde. It's not as heavy when you balance your personal ambition, Leo, with your emotional well-being, Cancer. And you can apply it more effectively, helping you move forward with greater clarity and purpose in your endeavors. So essentially, this Mars retrograde offers something very transformative between our ego and our emotions. It brings the depth, right, to align our emotions, our deep desires with our ambitions, which is tied to our ego. And that's what really brings the fire. So, anyways, I wanted to share that because I wanted to make sure I talked about the retrograde in Cancer. And that goes in line with this full moon here, because we're going to have a full moon in Cancer on January 13th. That means it's going to be a combo for a period of time between Mars and the moon. That can be tricky, okay? Yes, because if you think about it, Mars, it's kind of like a double whammy in a way, because Mars is in Cancer, and Cancer does not like having Mars there because Cancer is very sensitive. The moon, you put Mars there, which is like ruled by Aries, the god of war, well, that triggers things quite a bit. Like I said, first full moon of the year, it's going to emphasize the themes of your emotional clarity, your self care, how you transmute energy within yourself, transmuting anger, transmuting sadness. And it's going to be extra sensitive with Mars retrograde there along with it. And it's at 23 degrees. That is the Aquarian degree. So there's some kind of vibe, like this Aquarian vibe tied to it. And because the sun is going to be opposing Mars and the moon in Cancer, sun in Capricorn at 23 degrees. Now, it's at least it's going to get some trining aspects from Neptune and Pisces to kind of alleviate it. And it's not so, the trine is a nice, it's like a easy aspect, and it's more helpful versus a conflict. But we do have this ongoing opposition of Mars to Pluto subtly off and on as the degrees just kind of shift. And then Sun being in the opposing sign of this full moon adds more weight to it. So I'm just going to go over some of the details here, and then we will talk about how it could manifest for each rising sign. So hold on one second. Okay, so emotional clarity. Full moon illuminates deep-seated emotions, encouraging introspection and the release of lingering emotional hang-ups that we might have. It's an ideal time to confront things of our past and to learn to either transmute those energies of resentment, hurt, pain, or to let go of them, paving the way for fresh starts. Self-care and renewal is very important as well during this time. The nurturing energy of Cancer promotes self-care. So staying at home, it's a good time to be within your humble abode, nice and cozy, comfortable and safe, engaging in activities that foster relaxation and emotional well-being is very beneficial during this period. Intuitive insights. Cancer's intuitive nature is heightened, making it a favorable time to trust your gut feelings and engage in spiritual practices like meditation or journaling. Aries. It's going to be in your fourth house of home and family. So themes that come up, you'll have emotional revelations about your home life, your family relationships that you have, your living situation. This is going to be a time of introspection of your everyday. What is your relationship like with each of your family members that you exist with, that you deal with on a daily basis, right? Maybe you have to have some clarity through meaningful conversations. You're going to have a glimpse, though, of what could happen over this year, right? By doing so. And then you'll have insights that will be relevant for you later. It's really going to have you diving deep into your close bonds. And advice is just to reflect on creating a secure foundation. Focus on resolving any of those domestic issues that you might have and nurture your inner emotional world. Very important. Then for Taurus rising, this is going to be in your third house of communication and local community. So that means there's going to be insights into your relationships with siblings, neighbors, your community network. Advice for you is just to be mindful of how you express your emotions to the community, to your neighbors and stuff. Be mindful of how you come off and the dynamics happening. Make sure to communicate your feelings that you might have bottled up inside. Like, for example, if there's some kind of grudge that you have with your next door neighbor about something, maybe, think of how maybe you could go over and maybe clear it up or mend the fences and come to some kind of agreement during that time. And communication is just very important, especially in the third house. Gemini rising, it's going to be in your second house of finances and values. That means emotional clarity around your finances, your self-worth, your material possessions. Focus on creating a financial plan that supports your long-term goals and evaluate if your values align with how you're spending your resources. Yeah, I know it sounds kind of boring, but if you think about it, the way you handle your finances and your foundation, if it's not stable, that affects your emotional well-being over time. If you can't support yourself and have security in your home, that affects your life. So, great time to highlight those income spending habits, and it will urge you to balance through budgeting. Hold on. All right, so now we are on Cancer rising. Going to be in your first house, Cancer, all about yourself and your identity. Very personal full moon for you. It's going to bring some emotional revelations about your identity and your personal goals. So this truly is a time for you to align yourself, really make sure you're aligned with your path and what your goal is for this year. Because you're going to have a lot of big things happening for you this year, Cancer. You're going to have Jupiter going into your sign, in 6 months? That's a big deal, Um, a lot of big themes and changes in your life, for sure. Hold on. There's too much noise right now. All right, so I apologize for the noise, but it's just going to be going off and on throughout the whole thing, so I'll just put this closer to my mouth so that you can hear me clearer. Okay, continuing. Cancer. Advice for you, focus on self-care. Let go of any roles or relationships that don't align with your authentic self. Okay? Yeah, because you are directly influenced by this. So it will definitely heighten your emotions quite a bit. A big period of self-reflection and setting personal boundaries. Okay? Leo, my Leo risings. This is going to be in your 12th house, Leo. Yeah. This is a big full moon for us. And you know what? Cancer rising and Leo risings are fucking going through the ringer this year. Let me tell you. I know every sign is going through the ringer in some way or another. I mean, hell, we have several planets changing signs. And that's not something that happens all the time. So But yeah, so Leo, definitely a year of kind of not being center stage, right? There's going to be a lot of 12th house shit that you're going to deal with, 12th and 8th house stuff. But specifically for this full moon on the 13th, it's going to be in your 12th house. And it is of the subconscious, the unseen, spirituality, the other side of the realm, the veil. So it's a time to retreat and really reflect on your emotions. Uncover those hidden fears you have. Uncover the subconscious patterns that you've been living in. Maybe, I usually the 12th house can sometimes mean you can go on a trip or something, but if it's in Cancer, I think it's probably best that you and it's a full moon, it's probably best that you stay at home or you go somewhere that's like home, that feels like home, that you can retreat to and really think about inner healing big time. It's going to bring up some emotional clarity. It'll encourage the release of any unhelpful patterns that you have or relationships. Use this time for solitude, meditation, to heal your past wounds. Pay attention to your dreams and your intuitive insights. Because like I always say, if something is going through your 12th house, it's going to involve your dreams as well. You're probably going to get some messages through your dreams. So try to remember them the best you can. Or if you can't remember them, just start writing, like keep your journal next to your bed. And as soon as you get up, doesn't matter how tired you might be feeling, start just making yourself write stuff. And whatever comes to mind, just write it down. So good luck, Leo. Virgo rising, it's going to be in your 11th house of friends and community. So themes, emotional clarity regarding friendships, group affiliations, or your long-term aspirations. Advice, reevaluate the people you surround yourself with. Do you feel aligned with this group of friends that you hang out with? Ensure that your community has the same values you have and make sure that they can actually support your growth. And then Libra rising is going to be in your 10th house of career and your public image. Insights into your career path, your public image, or your relationship to authority figures in your life. Reflect on your professional goals and whether they align with your emotional needs. This is a time for balancing your work-life priorities. And then for Scorpio rising, it's going to be in your 9th house, higher learning and your beliefs. Themes will be emotional focus on education, travel, and your personal philosophies. Seek growth by exploring new perspectives. Broaden like your awareness of different beliefs and kind of look at like, maybe you've always been used to looking at things a certain way and perhaps try to expand out of that and look into a more expansive perspective of things. Consider whether your current beliefs are serving your highest good. And then you can really dive into your personal philosophy and what feels more aligned with you and how can you get there. Sagittarius rising, it's going to be in your 8th house. 8th house of transformation and your shared resources. So Sagittarius is going to be themes about intense transformation, right? I talk about the 8th house all the time, probably a little too much. Intense emotions around intimacy, because it is the 8th house is one of the sex houses, right? It's actually the deeper level of sex. There's different sex houses, I guess. There's like the 5th house is the house of sex too, but it's like with procreation. 8th house is like the that's why it comes after the seventh house, because the seventh house is our one-on-one partnerships, our relationships. And then eighth house is like a level further. So it's like the next level of intimacy, merging. So those types of things, your joint finances as well. Because if you think about it, when you merge with someone, you're joining. So you're basically joining your traumas, you're joining your finances, you're joining everything. Very transformative experience is basically what I'm saying. Advice is to address any financial or emotional entanglements with others that you might have. Embrace change as a path to personal empowerment. And whether it's like financials with roommates, even, or maybe there's not enough clarity with a friendship that you have, or what else? Eighth house is also linked to our insecurities as well. Like some people have a difficult time being vulnerable, so therefore they struggle in being intimate. And it's because of those traumatic experiences that they went through that have shut them down from intimacy and being able to feel deeply. So perhaps look into psychologically why that is. Allow yourself to feel it if you're ready. This would be a good full moon to do that because it's going to help you release a lot of things. It's a very powerful full moon. It's the first full moon. So that's really helping you to release a lot of stuff before you get started on the path towards throughout the year. Okay, so I have to redo this part, but we're on to Capricorn rising right now. Capricorn. So this full moon is going to be in your seventh house of relationships and partnerships. So yeah, it's on your descendant. You know, they say that opposites attract, right? And it's because it's two different parts that come together that make a whole, a unit. So it makes sense. Anyways, the themes are going to be about clarity in your partnerships, both romantic and professional, because the seventh house doesn't necessarily just mean relationships of love. It can mean any kind of relationship, collaborators and all that kind of stuff as well. So openly communicate feelings with your significant other or your collaborators. Release any toxic dynamics and prioritize mutual respect. And now we're on Aquarius rising. It's going to be in your sixth house, and that's about health and daily routine. How does your emotions affect your health and well-being and work and your daily habits and stuff? Evaluate that, how your routines support your emotional and physical well-being. Create a balance between productivity and your self-care. Perhaps look into your diet, because a lot of times there is a link between your gut health and your brain. Believe it or not. Yes. The way you eat and how healthy you are affects your emotions big time. And I can attest to that. Yes. It's very real. Of course, it's difficult to follow a strict diet sometimes, and you have to like get like a professional nutritionist or something, even though the internet does have a lot of information for you too. But at the same time, it's like inflation and it's all, never mind. Okay, you get it. Pisces rising, it's going to be in your fifth house of creativity and joy. So, yeah. Dang, this is a great time for you, Pisces. You got Venus in your first house, and then you got this full moon in your fifth house of creativity and children and fun and romance. So, insights into creative projects, romance, and how you express your joy. Advice is to reconnect with your hobbies, your activities. What do you love doing? What hobbies, like whether it's music, creating music, writing poems, painting, drawing, dancing, even any kind of creative outlet, reconnect with those, because those are really going to bring you, in a way, it's like when you do that on a full moon, that's in your fifth house, that by doing so, you are healing yourself through that action, through that process. Nurture your inner child, allow yourself to have fun. Heck, you could even build a fort. It's the house of being a child again, essentially. So it's funny because it's like the house of having children and being a child at the same time. So, but yeah, just build a fort, or you can, do double Dutch. Remember those double Dutch games, like jump rope, like in recess? I remember doing that when I was little, and I went to the park or during recess at school. And yeah, we used to do that. And then they had like the monkey bars. I don't know if you guys ever did the monkey bars. I loved the monkey bars. And then I remember, I think I was like 7 or something, and they had like these monkey bars that were parallel to each other. And I remember with my friends, everybody would kind of learn how to do the same tricks and then show off to each other and just do it constantly. It was funny. And it was fun. Anyway, it's definitely a time for you to indulge in that for sure. But yeah, that's all the signs. General tips for all of you guys. Just embrace the nurturing energy. Allow yourself to let whatever comes up come out. And be mindful that it could come out more erratically because Mars is also going to be retrograde in Cancer along with this full moon. So just be mindful of that as well. But it is important to allow the emotional release and connect with your loved ones if you feel ready to. I mean, if it's, of course, you don't have to, I guess, depending on whichever house it's in. I mean, we always encourage you to get more connected to your family because of the fact that Cancer is the home and it's the mother. The mother likes to be connected to their children and to their family. So those are the general themes. But make sure you release what no longer serves you anymore. If you have any hate that still resides, anger, resentment, sadness, pain, fear, any of those things, try your hardest to let it go right now. It's crucial to do that in order to refresh the palette for this year. And that's what I'm going to be doing. And I hope that you guys will do that as well. Pay attention to your intuition. Get more aligned with your body and the way it feels. And don't be afraid to be vulnerable. And that's what I have for you guys. I hope you liked it. And I'll see you later.